Welcome back to Self-Obsessed. Today we're discussing all things living the life that is inspired by your fear of being average. This episode is dedicated to the people that are terrified of living in the way that the majority do. The kind of people that don't want their lives to be measured by promotions, jobs, marriage, kids, the suburbs. You want so much more. You have this calling and feeling that you're capable of so much more and that you can do something extraordinary. The norm doesn't excite you and you want what most people don't have. And honestly, I can relate heavily. So this episode is where I'm going to teach you exactly how to do this, how to become the type of extraordinary person that can live out an extraordinary life, as well as all of the common pitfalls to avoid when doing this. Quick disclaimer, of course, there's nothing wrong with living an average life. Success is different to absolutely everyone. To some, everything I described, marriage, kids, a house, a job, is all they need and they'll feel completely fulfilled. I get that. But there are also some other people that still want all of those things, but they would still feel kind of incomplete without them. They know they have to go the extra step further, and this episode is dedicated to them. Before we get into it, be sure to check out all of the links below this podcast episode or in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. You can check out all of my socials, the Self-Obsessed Instagram page, and Self-Obsessed Society, which is a group where all of you can meet each other on Facebook. You can also pre-order my book, which is coming out in just a few weeks on Amazon. It's available worldwide, and it's called Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers. It's a radical guide to achieving self-love. In today's episode, we have 3 chapters. Chapter number 1 is mindset shifts that put you in the 1%. Chapter number 2 are habits that lead to building an extraordinary life. And as always, chapter number 3 is homework, practical steps that you can take away after you learn everything you need to know from this episode. So let's get right into it. Chapter number 1. Mindset shifts that put you in the 1%. Step number 1, you need to have a growth mindset. And you know you already have one when you believe in going after your full potential. You're not just here to sit around, be comfy, and have a good time. You know you're capable of so much more, and you enjoy the pursuit of becoming your best self. And that's not to say you're not grateful for where you are, of course, but instead, your mindset goes a step further in wanting to learn new things, learning from your setbacks, reflecting on how far you've come, and constantly setting new goals for yourself and tracking the progress you've made. It goes beyond just getting a job and money because you should and you need to. Instead, for you, it's about building a career or a personal brand. It's about acquiring a level of help that allows you to give back to others and allows you to experience a life that is not possible for many. You want to increase your intelligence. You want to make an impact on others. And you are ready to embrace every single challenge that comes at you because you know it makes you more resilient for the life that you are after. Most importantly, you don't take life or things that happen to you at face value. You don't get stuck thinking, well, I'm no good at this, so it's not meant for me, or I should quit, or I was never meant for this life. You see it as a learning opportunity, a growth opportunity, an opportunity to become better, to increase your knowledge. Nothing is ever stuck or fixed for you. If you want to do something or become something, you have all of the capabilities in the world to learn how to do so, no matter how many times you might fall down in the beginning. Step number 2. The people around you, your friends, family, peers, should never be your point of comparison unless they are exactly where you desire to be. A few years ago, I fell into this dangerous comfort of feeling like I was doing okay because everybody around me was doing the same thing. We were all at uni. We were all partying 3 to 4 times a week. We were all slacking off. We were all missing lectures. And it made me feel okay and comfortable in living below my potential because that was the norm. And you can probably relate because as humans, this is exactly how we are designed and wired. Psychologically, as much as 10% of our thoughts involve some comparison of any kind. And social comparison theory states that individuals determine their own personal and social status in comparison to how they stack up against others. Step number 3, it's the journey over the destination. This mindset shift transforms you into the type of person that gets so excited about the journey because it's who you become on the journey that gets you the end result. For example, when you are manifesting £1 million, dollars, whatever, that 1 million doesn't just fall into your lap 6 months later. No. Manifestation is when you start to get all of the life experience, all of the setbacks, all the mistakes, all of the opportunities that then turn you into the type of person that can become a millionaire. You don't get the physical money. You become the type of person with the type of lifestyle, habits, and mindset that can then go out to acquire £1 million. And that right there is the most exciting part. It's about shedding your old self, leaving back the laziness, the self-doubt, and becoming the type of person that can get that high up in life because of their resilience, their confidence, their determination, their discipline. And the 1% understands this. They know it isn't about quick fixes. Because also, and you can read a bunch of studies to prove this, happiness is not directly linked to the end result and what you get. As humans, we constantly want to build things and we constantly want to be on journeys and we constantly want to be chasing after something. So even when you get something that you might have been wishing for 10 years, you still will not be satisfied. It is in the pursuit of becoming something or acquiring something that gives you more joy and determination because it gives you a sense of purpose every single day. It's why you'll see a lot of lottery winners go on a downward spiral and their mental health worsens. And what I described is called arrival fallacy, which is exactly why accomplishments don't give you satisfaction. It's the journey of, oh my God, I'm responding better than I used to. Or, oh my God, I just did the thing that used to terrify me. Or I just walked into that room and owned it. But 2 years ago, I would have been too shy to speak to anybody in there. It's the I can't believe I just achieved what I thought I never could do that gives you that momentum in your journey to success. So embrace it rather than worrying about how far you are from the end goal. Mindset shift number 4, you understand that success is personal. Success is different to absolutely everyone, and you're not out here wasting your own time listening to other people's definitions of it. At the end of the day, success is rooted in your happiness. And I used to make this mistake as a teenager all the time. I was content with what I had, but as soon as I started hearing what other people were aiming for, I thought, oh my God, am I not doing good enough? Should I be doing that? Should I set up that business? I've set up a business and I realized I didn't want entrepreneurship to be my main thing because my passions didn't lie there. But the more time I got consumed in that conversation that people were having about it because it's their passions on their unique life path, it was taking me away from my true purpose, which was to be a creator. The sooner you own your own preferences and the things that you're into and you let go of what looks good to others or what all of your friends might be into, the more you're going to be efficient and faster on your journey to success. Because to some people, success and happiness might be to be a mother. It might be to be a business owner. It might be to spend their life traveling the world. If you continue to let other people tell you what success is, you will never reach it. Your success lies in what you really value. So while 1 million followers on Twitter might look really, really good to somebody else, is that actually important to you? I know it's a really cool vanity metric that, you know, why wouldn't everyone want that? But in reality, is it something that you've actually desired? Or instead, when you look back and you actually become in tune with your own thoughts, is giving back to others more important? Is setting up a clothing line the thing that's really going to fulfill you and get you to leap out of bed every morning? And the last mindset shift for this chapter is don't live in reality. Because let me tell you from personal experience, when you get so caught up in the identity of who you've always been, or just in the reality of your situation right now, and like, this is how things are, and I've been struggling and it's going to take me ages to get to where I want to be, and this is my life and this is who I am, this is who I always have been. If you gain success tomorrow, if you won the lottery tomorrow, if you got a viral video tomorrow that gave you overnight fame, your life would change so quickly that you would then be faced with imposter syndrome because your mind was so stuck in your reality that you wouldn't even be able to deal with the success that you so dearly craved. See, the difference between the 99% and the 1% is that extraordinary people consistently visualize themselves not only living in their dream life and what that would look like, but also what it would feel like. They bring in all of those future feelings, whether it be happiness, joy, security, a sense of adventure, into their present because they know, one, not only will having those feelings now align to your future self and therefore manifest that result quicker, but two, when you finally get the things you always dreamed of, you won't wonder, do I actually deserve this? Did I just get lucky? You will know that you were always meant for it, you always deserved it, and you will act so in that life once you get it. It's this getting obsessed with reality and who you always have been and using what your experiences are to define you, that when your life changes, you think, oh my God, but I've changed and this isn't who I am, or I'm so far from who I used to be. What do you mean? This is what you've always wanted. While of course it's good to know your surroundings, you need to also familiarize yourself with where you're going. Otherwise, how are you ever going to get there? Honestly, this is just a confidence thing. So that when your dream life comes, and if you got it tomorrow, you would know exactly how to show up in it and exactly how to be the person that owns and lives that dream life that you are currently thinking of. Chapter 2, habits that lead to an extraordinary life. Habit number 1, you cannot live an extraordinary life by doing what ordinary people do. You have all of these dreams, all of these ambitions, all of these places you want to go, and yet you're living your life in the exact same way of everyone else who's not even remotely close to heading in your direction. Make it make sense. Remember that your habits decide your life, and 99% of the population live their life every single day in a very comfortable and safe way, which leads them to an equally safe, comfortable, and average lifestyle. If you want something different, then you have to act differently. So no, your friends aren't going to get why you wake up at 6 a.m. to go to the gym before work, because it impacts your mindset, your discipline, your resilience, and your health so well so that you can show up in your business later. They're not going to get why you don't go to drinks every single Friday night, because you're working on your side hustles and your passions, or you're learning. People might judge you when you stop drinking. People might think you're so stuck up because you don't eat the same way that you used to, and now you actually have rules and standards for yourself. Regardless, it does not matter. You are doing what you are doing to get to the lifestyle you want, and they are doing what they need to do to get to the lifestyle they want. Habit number 2, take action. The second you get an idea, start researching it. Start asking questions. Start seeing who you can network with to learn more about that idea. Start making plans on how it would fit into your life, how you would schedule the time, if it would actually work. And then most importantly, try it. Just try it. You don't have to succeed at it. It doesn't have to be your new full-time job. You don't even have to do it for more than a month if you don't want to. But just try it once. Let's say your dream is to start a YouTube channel. Well, I'm sorry, but why have you been speaking about that for 3 months and you haven't even made one video yet? So you're telling me you got this idea months ago, years ago even, and that idea is going to stay on your mind, unfulfilled, unresolved, for even more years to come, because you didn't just upload one video and see how it made you feel. If you liked being in front of the camera, what you naturally spoke about, that's all it takes. It's not, I need to have everything figured out, I need the right camera, I need to know editing. No. You try it out to see if it fits with your lifestyle. And if it's not as great as you thought it would be, cool, bin it and move on to the next. You know what you just did there? You saved yourself so much time. You gave yourself extra knowledge on what does and doesn't work for you. And on top of that, you then redirected yourself onto the path you're actually meant to go on, which is exactly what failures, mistakes, and things that don't work get you, which then made you proceed onto your actual dream life and purpose much faster. Just because you tried and acted on an idea you had. It's as simple as that. The 99%, they have these ideas. They're always like, oh, I could quit my 9 to 5 and I could have a business, or I could do this, or maybe I should be a YouTuber, and no action ever follows. And those dreams stay in your head where they go to die. You cannot be out here waiting for the right moment, because I promise you it will never come, or waiting for someone to answer your question or give you advice or give you the step-by-step tutorial on how to do it. You need to figure it out yourself. Do you think all of the biggest billionaires and entrepreneurs in the world that gave you things you use every single day, like Amazon, had the idea and then sat on it for 10 years until they got the right time to do it? Absolutely not. And you need to act in the exact same way, because they acted as soon as they had the idea, because time is running out, my friends, okay? And at the end of the day, this isn't even a productivity issue. This is a self-love issue. You need to love yourself enough to see it through so that you can put your mind to rest, so that when people are asking you, what are your goals and what are your dreams? You're not just consistently saying the same thing, seeing them the next year, still saying, yeah, I want to do that, and then nothing ever follows. Meanwhile, they're over there chasing all of their dreams and you have to sit back and watch them do it. It's not cute, okay? We are kinder to ourselves than that, and we make sure we do what we want to do. We make time for it. Because when you start being forgetful and you're all like, well, I didn't even get around to do it and I don't have enough time, I'm sorry, it's giving, I don't prioritize my future. No thanks. Habit number 3, you come before other people. This is called the Self-Obsessed Podcast for a reason, girlies. People pleasing is off the table. We are not entertaining any of that anymore. Like, oh, you scheduled a full day in your calendar where you were finally going to get through your to-do list and commit to working on your goals and really try to see if you could set up that side passion because you finally got a day off work. But your friends are complaining that you never come out. So now you're going to go and spend the entire day with them instead because you don't want to be a bad friend. Huh? No. We are not doing any of that anymore. You might have just thrown the day away that got you started on the path that you've always wanted to be on. Don't be doing that for other people, because I'm telling you, if those people are really your friends, if they're really there rooting for you, then either you tell them to make them understand, or 2, they should know people are busy, people got ish going on, people might be having a rough time, okay? People might just not have the mental or energetic capacity to give to them right now, and they will wait until you do. That is what friendships are about. That is what relationships, families are for. It's about being understanding and giving people the space because you are going to love them and be there for them regardless. And if people can't even give you that, which, might I add, is the bare minimum, then they're not worth cancelling your plans for in the first place. Habit number 5, my personal favorite, embrace failure, because the more failures equal the more successes. I am a big believer of using mistakes as stepping stones to your inevitable success. And I have so much experience in this. A lot of people like to call me an overnight success, and I take the biggest offense to this because I set up my first YouTube channel when I was 14. I learned completely how to edit on the editing software I still use to this day, which built up my YouTubing career when I was 10. When I was 10 years old, I learned a vital high income skill that gives me the job I have now at 23. When I was 14, I set up my first YouTube channel. It failed. I quit it and now I have a whole other channel, but it gave me the experience I needed to get me to where I needed to be today a lot faster because I already dabbled in it. When I was 16, I had my own fashion blog, didn't work out, never tried to do fashion stuff again, but still it directed me onto the path I needed to be on so I didn't have to go down that avenue again and wonder, what if I'm supposed to be a fashion girly? What if I'm supposed to have a website? When I was 17, I had a jewelry business and it completely failed. And then when I was 21, I set up another jewelry business, and while it went a little bit better, I realized actually this just doesn't give me joy and it doesn't give me purpose. And wow, I can finally put this chapter to rest. Might I have a business in the future? Absolutely. But will it be my main number one thing? No, because I'm not that passionate about it. And that's what made me go all in on YouTubing, on podcasting, on being a creator, on writing a book. I never would have been able to do these things as fast as I did, with as much momentum as I did, if I still had all of these ideas in my head that I wasn't actioning and thus failing at. I had to get it all out the way, and I had to make those mistakes because they all led me here to finally making the right decisions. Having said that, and although I am in an amazing place in my life, I know I'm going to keep failing. You know why? Because I still have so many ideas in here and I'm still going to see out all of them. And I can't wait to see which ones work out and which ones don't. I'm not going to be butthurt if some of them don't work out. What do you mean? Not everything is supposed to work out for you. And you're never going to have the certainty of what is and isn't for you because it's your first time going through life, babe. Nobody has those answers. No, it's the mistakes and it's the experiences that teach you where you are supposed to go. So enjoy the experience and get excited at the things that don't work out because they will redirect you to where you need to be. So yes, there is a lesson in every single failure, but aside from that, it's not just about the singular failures. It's about attempting a project because you know you really love it and then falling down and failing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times and still getting back up and doing it if you still have the certainty that this is what I've always wanted to do. Take my YouTube channel, for example. Me, the so-called overnight success, had 2,000 subscribers for 3 years. 3 years I was stuck and I was failing. And then like that 3 months later, 100,000. And a year after that, 1 million subscribers. And it became my full-time career and I get so many opportunities because of it. You know why? Because I failed for 3 years consistently. And extraordinary people do this all the time because the average are so controlled by their egos. And they're so addicted to comfort that they don't like the idea of not being good at something and they allow it to deter them from the things they've always wanted to do. And it's not their fault as human beings. Once again, it's the way we're wired. And so you have to make it a conscious decision to push that discomfort to the side. Like, okay, I'm not feeling that cute right now. I really thought I'd be good at that. I really thought I was talented at painting or filming or whatever I wanted to do. And I keep failing, but it's fine because I owe it to myself to see it through. You can't be so offended at the idea that you didn't get it right the first time, or you're not as perfect or smart or talented as you could be, or maybe other people are getting somewhere faster than you are. You have to bear the experience of failing multiple times because successful people know the more times you fail, the more wisdom you gain throughout all of those failures. And then the faster you can jump to the next step once you've completed that first one. Getting success and a life that is not average involves so much risk and so much difficulty. It comes with the job. So prepare yourself for it and embrace it. The next habit is to live a life of discomfort. The purpose of this is to build discipline, strength, and resilience. Because remember, self-obsessed girlies, that long-term satisfaction always comes above temporary gain. Examples of living a life like this would be using your money to invest in stocks rather than buying designer clothes to show off or look cool or stunt for the gram. Another example would be to get up earlier when you're still a little bit sleepy and it's still super warm and cozy in your bed to go to the gym because you know it's going to affect your energy levels better for the day, rather than having the lazy morning in bed, which would have been nice in the moment. But come on, we all know we're going to regret it later. When have you ever regretted going to the gym and working out? Never. How many times have you regretted putting off your goals or the things you said you were going to do? Probably 100% of the time. I'm sorry to break it to you, but you need to understand you need to pay a price for success. And that price is discomfort. It's not living a life of ease. To get to where you want to be, and most importantly, like I said before, to become the type of person that can bear the success that you're going to have, because I promise you, that life comes with its own set of challenges. What about when you need to start learning how to hire people or learning new skills or having a business that goes way above you? Then what? And it's all of these little discomforts and all of these new routines and the paths that these lead you to that teach you that. I gotta say, the road to success will come with so many obstacles. You'll lose friends because you might outgrow them. You might be isolated at points. You might be working every single weekend. But I promise you, all of that sacrifice is worth it. The thing is, the sacrifice is necessary because if the obstacles and the difficulties weren't there, then everyone would have a life that is so enviable and so enjoyable. A lot of people don't practice building up the resilience and the strength and the discomfort to be able to deal with everything that comes with achieving your dream life. Once you start now, even if you don't have anything yet, through waking up earlier or incorporating those habits, you will be much more well equipped to deal with the life that you dream of. The next habit is that you ask for help and advice. I have learned and seen this myself from so many networking events I've been to, and this wasn't a skill that came to me naturally, so it absolutely blew my mind. But no, even if it's not a networking event, even if I would be out with friends that are successful or they own their businesses or they're doing something out of the ordinary, they ask each other just over a casual dinner. There's nothing businessy or worky about it. And they're like, oh, I really like the way you did that. Can you tell me what organizational tools you did to do that? Or, oh, I saw how you did this. Can you give me advice on how I would do that? Or, oh, you hired this person. What was your hiring process? And they're constantly asking questions so casually. And it sounds like a simple thing, but I was at these dinners or at these networking events where this was happening. And I was like, if you're listening right now, I'm making a jaw dropped face. But I was so shocked because I was like, oh, that's okay. And that's what successful people do. They save their own time. They cut their own time in half and they be super efficient by basically using other people as their cheat code to just gain all of the knowledge that might have taken that person over there 2 years to learn, and they learn it in 2 minutes. It's incredible. And I know it might sound a bit cutthroat or heavy, but it's not. People are so happy to help and network because they know that you'll then be there for them. And it's kind of like a business friendship. And I just think it's genius. Don't be shy. Don't back down. Don't think that you have to bear the weight of the world on your shoulders and you have to do every single thing yourself. I made that mistake for the first year of my career, and it meant that I was going so slow. In fact, even when I was hiring a team, I wasn't asking for help. I was struggling in silence. It was when other people in my network or creators I knew were reaching out and saying, oh, I hired an assistant. I think you should too. This is how you do it. This is the process I went through. And I was like, you just saved me a week of researching or learning how I would even go about this in 2 text messages. So honestly, embrace it. Either go to more networking events or just speak to people that you know that might be a little bit further than you. Maybe they are already investing their money. Don't be shy and ask about it. You'll be shocked at how many people are so kind and so friendly and helpful in wanting to help you. And remember, you're not just taking this advice and leaving them empty-handed. You are going to be on your own successful journey, girl. And then hell, you'll pull them back up to when you gain all of the knowledge that they might not have. And it continues like that. And the last habit for this chapter is to change your regular habits into extraordinary ones. For example, it comes down to the meals you eat. Extraordinary successful people hold strict to diets because they know the food and the nutrients they consume every single day then contribute to their energy levels for the day. They know if they eat whatever they want, McDonald's, sweets, chocolate, candy, whatever, they're going to have that energy crash. If they know that they are filling their bodies, they're eating more protein, not only are they going to be able to work out better, they're going to have leveled off energy for the day, they're going to be able to live and work as their best selves. Another example is that while some people might be out clubbing till 4 a.m., not that anything's wrong with that, you decide to stay in and go to sleep so that you can wake up at 4, 5, 6 a.m. to get to work and get started on your dream life. This isn't to say that you can't go out and have a wild night out and drink and have fun and party, but it's all about finding the balance that's right for you. And balance doesn't mean 50%. It doesn't mean 1% of the time. It's finding what works for you and your dream life. For me, I cut out partying for months and months and months at a time, and I'm now doing it maybe once a month because I'm living in a bigger city and I want to experience that side of life. But I know if I was in my building stages, I would instead replace that time with trying to network or trying to learn the relevant information that would get me ahead on my journey. At the end of the day, this is about what you versus the 99% do the majority of the time. If you're ever confused, I want you to think, what would the 1% be doing in my position right now? How would they go about their morning? Or what would the version of myself that already has my dream life, how would she treat the situation? Would she slack off work to go to the party? No. So why are you? Another example of replacing your regular habits with extraordinary ones is instead of listening to music every single day on your commute, listen to a podcast instead. Once again, this is not you cutting out music completely, but it's about adding just one more thing into the day that's going to help you get there on your journey. I honestly love podcasts because it's like, I get to learn what I need to learn to progress my journey in no extra time. Like I'm already working or I'm already cleaning. I was already doing something I need to do. And I don't have to take out any time in my day to learn all the information I need. Are you kidding me? Like I have learned investing in the stock market. I've learned angel investing just by listening to podcasts while doing my makeup. It's the smartest thing you can do. And the best thing is they're free. And lastly, we now have chapter number 3, the homework chapter, where I share a few practical steps to get you guys started on your journey. These usually come at the end of every single podcast and YouTube video I do. And with this podcast episode, because chapter 2 already contains so many practical and actionable habits you could implement, like, changing your habits and things like that, I wanted to do the homework chapter a little bit differently and instead share with you some further shifts that you guys can make that are actually inspired by my own experience and journey. Step number 1 is to make note of every average life quality that you feel you need to avoid at all costs. Once again, this is absolutely different to everybody. Please make this personal to you. To some people, marriage and kids might be a really large part of it. To other people, it might be something you actually write down in your avoid list if you really don't want it, okay? But this step is really important because it will act as your motivator and driving force. So the next time you feel like giving up or skipping, you can read this list and you know that that list contains all of the consequences that are going to happen if you don't get up and show up for the life you are striving for. For example, on my list, it was settling down and buying a house too young in a really small town. I know I'm a big city girl, and honestly, the idea of that terrifies me. I don't want to live in the suburbs, at least not for now. And so I really didn't want to spend my 20s doing that. I want to spend my 20s living in a different city every year, or at least really, really big cities, or at least prioritizing traveling. That links into my next one. I really want to avoid the average life quality of only getting to travel once a year. I really, really hate limits. And I think if I want to go on holiday 4 times a year, why shouldn't I get to do that? And that's the motivator that allowed me to start working for myself, that made me strive for a higher salary to give to myself. Another average life quality that I wrote down in my list was the thought of never having enough free time or never having enough money to be able to outsource my tasks so that I could give that time back to myself. And once again, that motivated me to hire a team or work harder so that I could afford to get more members on my team, and so on. This links into homework task number 2. Get really, really clear about what this extraordinary life entails for you. Either journal about it or write a list of goals in your notes app on your phone, just like I do. This is really important because 1, it's really going to help you visualize the lifestyle you want. And like I said before, really get you to see yourself in it and feel the emotions of having it. But 2, it holds you accountable so that you don't start forming habits that stray you away from what you're actually going after. For example, let's say your goal is you really want to buy a house by the age of 25. And if you've written that down and you constantly visualize it and you see it, then you're not going to make the mistake of buying designer clothes just because all of your friends are. You know you need to prioritize saving up that money, investing it so that you can buy a house at the time that you want to. Step number 3 is to turn those goals you just wrote down into scheduled events. Not enough people do this, guys. When you are making your New Year's resolutions, when all those pictures and all those goals on your vision board, they need to be in your calendar. Okay, every single Sunday, I look at these and I think, if I'm going to set 1 spare hour every Saturday, every Friday to start working towards my goals list, what's it going to be? Okay, maybe I should listen to a podcast in the morning about angel investing because it's on my vision board. Maybe I should look into investing in the stock market so then I can retire early, and so on. Maybe for you, it's just setting a monthly calendar alert that reminds you on payday to invest 10% of your monthly paycheck in whatever investing things that you use. And lastly, for this episode, homework task number 4, you need to understand your personal do's and don'ts. Don't get it twisted. Extraordinary people have to make sacrifices when they're going after their dream life. No drinking to the point that I'll have a hangover the next day because I'm trying to get up and work the next day. On the other side, my personal do is I will work on the weekends. I like to have the extra time to pursue my goals so that I can get to where I want to get to faster. For some other people, that might be a don't. Maybe you really want all of your weekends just for you, or maybe it's so that you have time for traveling. Another personal do on my list is that I have to read every single morning and meditate and or visualize, but a don't for me is no more than 2 hours of TV per day, and so on. And when you do this, you get really clear about your goals, your habits, and then when somebody is trying to pressure you into why are you doing this, or you're so uptight or you're so strict with your routine, you're not going to give an F, because you're like, these are the standards, these are the high standards I've set for my life, and this is the way I'm going to live it, and I'm so clear about it. And not only that, when you're writing this list, reference those goals, reference that vision board, because you're like, okay, to get here, maybe I need to cut out this, maybe I need to incorporate this. That's why I listen to podcasts. That's why I read a self-help book every single morning. So then I'm gaining more knowledge in a shorter amount of time to get closer to the lifestyle I want to live. You know, that those goals that I've written down actually heavily influences the podcasts and the books that I read. And that brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I absolutely loved it. And this idea for this episode just came to me so randomly a week ago, and I was like, and the notes that I made for this episode just flew out of me. It stayed in my head. I've been so passionate about it, so I hope you guys loved it. If you did and you're on YouTube, please comment down below, let me know what you loved about this episode, because I'd love to hear. If you're not, feel free to send us a message on the Self Obsessed Podcast Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. You can also follow it to get daily updates on affirmations and motivational posts and advice that we give out there every single day. Be sure to also check out my personal socials. I'm at tamkaur on both of my personal YouTube channels, my Instagram, my Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, everything, where I upload exclusive self-help content every single day. Thank you guys so much for listening and all of the support you give. I appreciate you so much. And remember to stay self-obsessed.